Welcome back. In the last session we discussed about what variables are. Now it is time for you to understand what data types are. Data types, just like variables, are very much essential for you to tell Python what kind of data is going to be stored in those variables, in those memory locations. Accordingly, the memory will be allocated and you will have the freedom to use that memory. In fact, Python is intelligent enough and simple enough as it can process the memory on your behalf. As I told you, Python has the memory management as an inbuilt feature and you need not explicitly declare how much memory you would need based on the variable. Now, shall we understand what data types are? So if you look at the data types, there are multiple data types that exist. In simple terms, data type is nothing but the type of variable that you are going to use, the type of data that you are going to store in those variables. It can be numeric. When I say numeric, it can be integer, it can be a complex number, it can be a float. Same way, dictionary, Boolean, set, sequence type. These are all the different data types that exist. In fact, I'll just talk about the types alone here, like integer, complex number, float, dictionary, Boolean, set. These things I'll talk about because we are going to discuss in detail in the upcoming sessions on what the sequences are. So we'll be understanding more about the list, tuples, sets, and all those other aspects which are covered under the data structures format, because it's slightly complicated compared to the data types, what we are discussing now. Now let me deep dive and explain to you the numeric data type. There are three different types of numeric data types which you have seen. You have integer, we call this as signed integers. You have float and you have complex variables. Complex, I'm sure right from the school days we have been learning that. X plus yj or x plus ij used to be the complex form if you remember. So this is how we have complex variables. You have integer and the float, the other two data types which comes under the numeric format. Integer means simple number like 5. Float means 5.5. I'm adding a decimal to it. And when I say complex, it is a plus ib or b plus ic or 3 plus 4 i. Like that we have complex numbers. So these three data types can help us store multiple different formats of complex data. I hope you have understood what numeric data type is all about. Now let's understand the other simple data type called as strings. Strings can be used to store anything that is character in nature, an array of characters, a group of characters, like a name for example. If I say Lakshmi Narayanan, it has a group of characters in it. I can take these characters and I can put it in the form of a string. So the string data type variables can be assigned by using quotation marks. So I have to put the name, that is Lakshmi Narayanan, within quotation, and then I have to assign it to the string. And you can call the variable name like person name, tutor name, and as I told you in the variable notation, how are you going to store the variable? You can call that variable as tutor underscore name or the program underscore tutor. Like this you can define the variable and then you can assign this particular string as part of this variable. For example, another example, I would say my underscore car is a Toyota car. So I can put it like my underscore car is equal to my car is Toyota. So this Toyota is nothing but the string of characters which have been saved together and you are calling it as a string. Basically, the way it is stored in Python is the strings are considered to be arrays. You are calling it as arrays of characters. Have you heard of arrays before? Arrays are nothing but you can store multiple number of values in one particular variable type. That's what array is all about. And Python does not have a character data type, unlike other programming languages. In other programming languages, you would have seen char, that is char, as a character data type and string as a separate data type. But in Python, we are merging both and we are calling it as only one data type, that's called string. So even the characters can be stored in the string data type. A single character is simply a string with length 1. That is, if I say alphabet A or B or C or hashtag, all these are characters. And I can store these characters in a string, and all I would look at is this particular string is of length 1. If the length is 1, you call that as character. Multi-line strings are usually represented within the quotes so that Python knows where it starts and where it ends. If you leave a space in the beginning, let's say for example, space and then Lakshmi and within quotations, Python will store it like space Lakshmi. Or if I write the name like within quotations, I write that Lakshmi space Narayanan. It is going to look at it as one string where space is also considered to be one of the characters in the string name. So this is how Python looks at strings. Now, having understood strings, it is important for you to understand what kind of operations we can perform on strings. What we generally call it as slicing and accessing strings. Let's go back to that example. My car, the variable name that we declared. My underscore car is equal to my car is Toyota. My car is Toyota is the string that you have stored in the variable name my underscore car. Now what are the different operations I can perform? I told you this whole string is nothing but character array of characters that are stored there. If I say my underscore car and then 0 in the box, it says that I want to fetch the first character in this particular string. So what is the first character here? It is M. Since I said my car is Toyota, M is the first character. I'm just taking that M as the first character and returning the value here. So when I use these values, the way the string is stored, it's an array of characters. It's going to pick up that particular character based on the count and it's going to return that number. This is how the character operations or the string operations are performed. If I take my underscore car 3:6, can you guess what this would return? Yes, you guessed it right. 3:6 means it's going to start from the third character and to the sixth character. So whatever that lies in between, it's going to return. Let's look at the response. It says car. Why is it car? Why not the space? Because the third character is space here, isn't it? My space car. That's how the string is stored. Then why are we not looking at it? If you notice, the character length starts from 0 and not 1. That's the reason in the first one when I said my underscore car of 0, that denotes the first character. Now when I say the third character, 0, 1, 2, 3 characters are gone and then I'm looking at the third character. That's why car, C, it starts from C and the reason the car is returned. I hope you're able to understand the difference and you're able to decode where the beginning of the array is. Let's take one more example. My underscore car, I'm saying 3: without an end character. So what does it mean? If we don't have the end character, how is Python going to understand this and give you a result? Did you guess it? What could be the possible result? Yes, you are right. The result is, it starts from the third character and since we don't have the end character, it goes up to the end of the string. Like for example, here car is Toyota. The complete string is returned right from the beginning of the third character. The fourth one, if you notice, I can concatenate strings just by using the plus button. The plus is a kind of an operator which you'll be learning in the next section. It can be used for addition as well as concatenation of strings. So here, when I say my underscore car, this is a string variable, a variable of string data type, and you are concatenating it with another string. Like here, for example, I'm saying Supra. So what do you think the value will be? The answer will be my car is Toyota Supra. I hope you're able to understand. It has taken the complete string and it has added that new string, that is Supra, to the particular string and stored again in a new variable or in the existing variable. This is how the string operations can be performed. Where do you think you may need this? A practical example can you think of? Let's say you are working in an Excel sheet kind of data set. I have the name of all the students or all the employees in one particular table. Now, your marketing team wants to run a campaign and they say that instead of the full name, I just want to use the first name for running a campaign. Is there a way that you can identify only the first name? Can you think of using this set of operations for performing that? If you're able to connect the dots, that means you have understood this concept. I can use these kind of operations to clearly identify where to start, where to end, how to pull up a substring from a string. In fact, the regular expressions which we are going to learn later will also help you out to do the same operation. But that is for another day. So you have understood how to slice and access substrings from a string, which is array of characters. So we have understood two different data types so far, numeric and string. Now it is time for us to look into the third one, Boolean data type. Boolean data type has only true values, that is either true or false as the name indicates. Any if condition or any comparison you would like to make can only carry these two values, true or false. If A is greater than B, what do you think the value would be returned? The value would be true or false depending on A and B values. This is what we call it as the Boolean type variables. Bool, B-O-O-L, and then parenthesis can be run on any other value to get one of these two results. So the bool can return either true or false. Let's look at some example here. So the bool returns true for any integer, string, or even the list types. Remember, this is how it can be used across. It returns for empty list the integer 0 or an empty string, that is for the empty list. A function can also return a Boolean value. So you need to be aware of all these things.